So OPT, CPT, a lot of you have been coming into the office and asking about OPT and CPT, and some of you have been asking, what is OPT and CPT? We're going to talk about all of that. This presentation is rather long. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on some of the slides. I'm going to ask that it be put on the website after we're done. It probably won't appear until around Friday because we need somebody from IT to do that for us. Embedded in the webinar are several slides that will take you through the online application at USCIS. So these are really what I wanted added. Beginning and the end, there's a lot of different kinds of information. We're going to go through it all, but that's the crust of, if you're going to apply online, those would be really important, the guiding you through the application. Okay, it doesn't want to go. Now, the two people that you can contact, of course, you can always contact me. I am here in Jones Hall. You can also contact Nathan. Most of you, if you're a graduate, you're familiar with Nathan. He helped you come here with your I-20s. We're the two in the office that can help with OPTs and CPT. So we're going to talk about CPT, what it is, the requirements, and how to apply. The same thing with OPT. At the end, we're going to touch a little bit on STEM OPT, and then we'll have some final general comments. So CPT. CPT is an internship or another work-study arrangement that is required for your degree, or it's an integral part of your program of study. So this is an internship. If you need experience, sometimes the academic program will require you to do an internship. Other times it is an optional experience that you can do. In general, getting any experience in the field and the work field is good for you. It bumps your resume up. It's always good experience for you. We try to be very liberal when we're giving the CPT. There are a few things that we need to do. It has to be in your academic focus. It has to be approved and supported by your academic advisor. If you come to us with OPT, a CPT request, and the students, your advisor says no, we will not approve it. Okay, you must be enrolled for one academic year prior to applying for CPT. When you're on CPT, the semester you're doing CPT, you must be in an internship course or a course that your advisor and you have decided supports your CPT. If you drop the course, your CPT ends. We do check. As long as you're enrolled in the course, you're able to work on the CPT. Now, when we're doing the CPT, there is an application process. You may not start working on any position before you have the I-20, your new I-20 that has CPT listed on page 2. This is extremely important. Last spring, we needed to terminate a young lady's I-20 and her visa because she was working without CPT approval. It is grounds for termination. There's no questions asked. It isn't oh, I made a mistake. Can you fix it? We can't backdate CPT in CVIS. If you're working and you haven't got approval, you will be terminated. If your program says you need to do an internship, your first stop needs to be our office and ask us, do I need CPT approval? Better to know and ask the question than to get terminated. So the CPT application, you're going to contact either Nathan or myself to get initial questions for CPT. You're going to discuss the internship or the CPT opportunities with your academic advisor. They must be on board. They must approve. The application must be completed by both of you together. There are learning and experience, learning objectives that we ask you to fill out. It must be connected to the course. Your application must be completed with your academic advisor. The learning objectives must be filled out. The course must be filled out. Full-time, part-time. We generally do not do full-time while classes are in session. Then the letter, the offer letter, you have to have the offer first from a company. The offer letter needs to include where you will be working, who is going to be your supervisor, how many hours a week will you be working, when does it start and end. We generally follow the semester dates when we're thinking of CPT. All of that has to be in the offer letter. We also need then for your advisor to send us the CPT application form, the offer letter, and a letter of support of the CPT experience to our office. If you send it to us, we're going to send it back, and you have your advisor send it to us. We do not accept it from you. We need to have your advisor on board at all times with the CPT. Okay? You cannot begin working until you have the CPT approved and you have the new remarks on page 2 of your I-20. It'll give you the beginning date, the ending date, where you're working. All of the information will be on the I-20 when we create that. After you've given us, do not work until you have this CPT I-20. Even if the date has come, if you don't have the CPT, the I-20, it has not been fully approved. You only work after you have the I-20 in your hand. When we authorize CPT, we do it for only one semester at a time. Now, sometimes a student will get CPT and they want to continue for another semester. That's okay, as long as you've completed one more application, new learning objectives, and you've gotten a new I-20 now for the next semester. You cannot extend CPT. It must be a brand new application and it must be approved by your DSO. When you reapply. Again, this can cause trouble if you're going over another semester. The learning objectives must be new. They must be different because you've already achieved your learning objectives. You need new learning objectives for your next experience of CPT. You cannot just copy the application again and hand it to us and expect to be approved. You can only work through the authorized dates. If it ends at the end of classes in December, that's when you end your CPT experience. Any other questions? I'd like you to come to us. There are certain situations where we might make extensions, but I'd rather you not take that as a rule, as more as an exception, and you come to us and ask us questions and we'll explain it to you. While you're on CPT, again, you have on your I-20, one employer, one job. You cannot change jobs. If you change, you need to stop the CPT. You need to get reapproved for a new CPT. The CPT approval is only for one job, one employer. That's why you have the offer letter before you get approved for CPT. And you must remain in the CPT course. If you drop the course, we will terminate your I-20 and tell you to go home. You need to let us know. And again, CPT employment without the CPT course enrollment is grounds for visa termination. CPT working on CPT without the I-20, grounds for termination. If they terminate you, you have to go home. There's nothing we can do. Notify your DSO if you stop working early or if you will not work. If you change your mind, we need to go in and cancel the CPT and CBIS so it no longer shows that you're working. It's important that we do this, but generally, once you apply for CPT and you're approved for CPT, you cannot stop CPT. Once you apply, you're approved, you have to work. It's one of those things that it's not this, oh, I think I'll do it just because I'd like to try CPT, decide I don't want it, I'm going to quit. Because you have that class you're enrolled in. Okay, and you cannot work until you have the approved, you've approved and you have the new I-20 with the CPT remarks. Again, I put that on there twice because this is so important. It's heartbreaking for you. It's heartbreaking for us when we have to terminate you and send you home because you started working without the CPT I-20. Now, OPT, optional practical training. OPT is work that's related to your job. 1 year, you get 1 year per academic level. So 1 year at the bachelor's, 1 year at the master's, 1 year at the PhD level. If you go for a second master's and you've done OPT at the master's level, you do not get it again. Even with a second bachelor's or second master's, you get 1 year of OPT at each degree level. OPT can be done before you graduate or after you graduate. More commonly, our students do it after they graduate. If you do pre-completion OPT, you will lose part of your post-completion OPT. So if I do 3 months in the summer of full-time pre-completion OPT, that leaves me 9 months of post-completion OPT. Remember, only 1 year. OPT requirements, again, you must be enrolled for 1 academic year before you're able to apply for OPT. OPT must have a government approval. We will help you with the application, but you file the application with USCIS. You must be approved by USCIS before you work. The job must be related to your major. And while you're on OPT, you still have an active I-20. So all of the rules apply as an F1 student. You must change, if you change employers, let us know. You change of address, let us know. You have to have insurance. All of the same rules apply. Okay, with OPT, all employment must be directly related to your major. And we will check this, as will CVIS, because we enter everything into CVIS. If they decide it's not related to your major, they will deny. And same thing with us. If we feel it's not related to your major, we will question when you send the information to us. All periods of employment must be related reported to your DSO, both post and pre. If you don't relate and tell us when you're working for post-completion especially, it looks then in CVIS like you have all unemployment days. I've had students who have been working for months but never told us. And when I go into CVIS, it looks like they have 300 or 200 unemployment days. We don't know when CVIS will decide to cancel out the I-20. In general, with OPT, you're allowed only 90 days of unemployment. Anytime after that, CVIS can go and cancel your OPT if you haven't entered your employment. So it's risky not to let us know. Again, more than 90 days, you're only allowed 90 days of unemployment. You have to work for a minimum 20 hours. So we want you to be full-time. You accrue unemployment hours when the employer is not listed in CVIS, and this is what I was just talking about. When you approved for OPT and you have an employer, you found a job, you send that information to us. We're going to ask for a certain list of your supervisor's information, contact information. We're going to need a small paragraph about what you're doing and how it relates to your studies here at MTSU. Without that, CVIS doesn't know you're working. Even if you've used your OPT portal, and there is a student portal, not all of the information can be submitted by the student. The DSO has to submit information also, or the clock does not stop counting for unemployment. CVIS will terminate your visa if you exceed the number of unemployment days. We don't know when that happens. It's completely by CVIS. We have no control. There are 2 methods to apply for OPT now. Previously, there was just one. You send in the application by mail. Now they have an app. The mail-in application is one way. You require a student to send the physical application and supporting documents. You send it by to USCIS. We recommend FedEx, DHL, UPS, not the US Postal Service. Special delivery, so you get a delivery date and time. You know when a package was delivered. The other one is the online application. This is much easier. There's no better way. Some people say the online application is faster. It's not supposed to be. You enter the queue at exactly as you would if you do a paper app. The required items to upload you need to have on your computer in either PDF or JPEG form, so it's easy to upload as you're doing the application. We're first going to go through the paper app. Some of the stuff will still apply to the information you need for your online app. So we'll kind of cross over a little bit. Again, this one is mailed to USCIS by UPS or FedEx. Those are the two we recommend. So we have the form, the I-765. Some of you will print this out and use this, have it beside you as you are filling out your online application. That's fine. All of the questions are not on the online application, but all of the questions on the application will be on the I-765. The paper app requires that you have all of your previous I-20s, your copy of your I-94, any EAD cards. If you have a previous undergraduate OPT, you're going to need that EAD card, official copy of your transcripts, your passport, and your visa. Those are required to be sent in with your application for paper. Things to remember, and these general dates are really important. We'll go through these a couple of times throughout the webinar. USCIS will not receive your application 60 days after your program end date. So when you're applying for OPT, you can apply during your 60-day grace period. Now, before your program end date on the I-20, and please remember, we will shorten your program end date to be the last day of the term of that particular semester. Your application cannot get to USCIS 90 days before the program end date. Everybody is well within the 90 days. 90 days is going to be close into the end of September. So we don't generally have this webinar until October because we're not going to worry about this 90-day limit. If you miss the webinar in the spring, make sure you're not applying 90 days before. They will deny. You will have to apply again and pay the fee again. USCIS will not receive your application 30 days after the date on your I-20. So when we have checked your documents, the last thing you need is an I-20 from us saying that we requested OPT for you. Do not send it online if you do not have this I-20 from us. This is a brand new I-20 you're going to get. It's going to say OPT requested on page 2. If you send it without this OPT I-20, they will deny. So this 30 days from the day we create the OPT I-20, you need to get it to USCIS. The nice thing about the online is our students will pick up the OPT I-20, have their documents checked, go home and do the application. Very little problem with the 30-day rule recently. But these dates are important to remember. So first of all, you're going to complete the I-765. Okay, if you have a signature box, and this is really important because they will deny, the signature box is rather small. Your signature must be entirely in the box. If it strays from the box, they will deny. Choose the correct OPT. Are you doing pre-completion or post-completion or STEM? Choose the correct address. The address must be valid for at least 5 months, and that gets difficult. So you can have a mailing address or a physical address. One of those addresses, whichever one you choose, will be the one that USCIS uses to communicate with you. We're going to collect all of the documents, all of the I-20s, all your immigration documents. Remember, you need your I-94, the visa, the passport, all of that. And you need to choose your dates. This one's important for both online or paper app. One of the documents in the papers we will send you will be a form that asks you for the date. What date do you want your OPT to start? All right. If you don't know, and we cannot give you this date, this has to be your decision. Sometimes you'll have to consider, are you late in applying? Are you early in applying? It has to be before the end of your grace period. It can't be before your program end date. There's a lot of little information. If you want to come and talk to us about it, we will give you guidance. We cannot choose this date for you. This has to be your decision. Questions I'm going to do at the end. The photos, again, if you're going to do the paper app and send it in by mail, you'll need to have 2 passport size style photos, your name on the back, so if they get lost or dropped, they know what application. The check is going to be a cashier's check, not a cashier's check, what I want to say, mail order. Make sure we make it out. It's made out to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. That is all written on the information that we give you. All of this information is on what we give you, the papers we give you. It's also going to be on the website. You can come and get it from us anytime. Always ask a question. You have to sign the I-20. You send a copy, not the original. The original is your new I-20. And when you have all of your documents collected and you think you're ready to go, you bring it in. We're going to check and see if you have everything. If everything is in order, we have your date for OPT. We're going to create your new OPT request I-20. You cannot send it in until you have that final OPT request I-20 from us. If you send it in, it'll be denied. Okay, the address, you want to make sure that you're using an address that you will have access to, or somebody will be there to get the mail. If something happens and they need further evidence, they're going to send you a paper letter. If you send in a paper app, they're going to send you a paper letter. There's a limited amount of time you have to respond and get the information to them. If you're late, they will deny. This is why we always want to check and make sure we have everything in the beginning so we don't have to do the evidence request. Again, when you're mailing your application, we recommend DHL, FedEx, or UPS. UPS, that will allow you to track and get a delivery, a confirmation when it was delivered. Again, remember those deadlines. If we get outside those deadlines, we have no control. Having the exact date your application arrived at USCIS allows us to tell USCIS, no, we had it there on time. This is important. The online app eliminates all of this. Communication and confirmation will be received. It usually takes a couple of weeks. If you're doing the online, it's almost instantaneous. The request for further information or evidence is what you might receive, and the approval or denial you will receive. All this will come by paper if you choose a paper app. Now, the online application. This is what it's going to look like. It's always USCIS. You're going to need to make an account. So you first want to make an account, then you're going to have to back out, then you're going to have to enter your account. And you're going to want to file a form online. Okay, they're going to ask you, what do you want to do? You want to file for OPT? And again, this online application is used for several different things. You want to make sure that you're using the OPT. So we're going to apply for OPT, and then we're going to start the form. Now you need to decide which OPT. Most of the time it's going to be post-completion, but there will be the STEM extension and there will be pre-completion at times. So we want to make sure that you're applying for the correct one. This is your initial, if this is the first time you've done OPT, this will be your initial application. If you've previously filed, then they'll give you a couple of different items. Is it a replace? So sometimes we've had a case where a student lost, or the United States Postal Service lost her EAD card, and we needed to get her a new one. It requires a new application. And if you're renewal, this is more commonly for people who are doing off-campus employment. And if you previously filled out a form, maybe for STEM, you're going to click yes, because some of the information they will have. Okay, now, if someone is assisting you, and for this, they mean if somebody is interpreting things for you, you're sitting beside them and they're doing it, they're interpreting this. You and having the DSO help you is not the same thing. So you're almost always going to answer no on this one. Now we're getting into the names. Okay, you have your given name, your last name. They're also going to ask you if you used any other names. So if you are married and you have a maiden name, then you might want to do the maiden name. If you have no other names, then you can answer no. This is not nicknames. This is not a name when you changed your name because if you're using your middle name. You want your full name on the application as it would appear on your passport. Okay, you're going to give your contact information. This is your phone number. You're going to need your daytime phone if it's different, and then your email. Again, they're going to use this email to contact you. If you lose access to this email, you won't get their communication. And if you don't, they don't hear from you. If they need evidence, they will simply deny your application. So carefully consider what email you use here and make sure you have access and continued access. Your mailing address, again, we want it valid for 4 to 5 months. If you're planning to move before your application has been adjudicated, approved, or denied, you will need to use the address that you have for the entire period. Now, they do have, I don't know why this is here. They do have the ability to register a change of address with USCIS. They do have a form on their website, so you can do that. It's just easier if you can choose an address that you know you're going to be able to have access to. This one is going to be the mailing address. This is generally what you're going to use, or if you are maybe you want to have the address sent to an uncle's house, the EAD, the information sent to an uncle's house because you live on campus, then you're going to put your uncle's name here because your name is not on the mailbox. So in care of is going to be your uncle, and then your uncle's address, and then your physical address. If you're going to have the EAD card go to somewhere else than where you are living right now, this answer is going to be yes. If it's the same, if the current email is the same, yes. If it's no, if you're going to have a different address, then you're going to say no. Then you put your physical address. They're going to use the mailing address, not your physical address, is where they want to send the EAD card. Your gender, if you're married or you're not, your town you were born in, your province or state, the country, and the date. Should all match your passport or what we have on file. Your citizenship, the application, the paper app, I believe gives you you can add a country, yes. You can have 2 if you are bicultural. If you have 2 citizenships, you can actually add them both. Your I-94 number, you should all know how to find your I-94 number. We give you the website in case you forgot. You're going to need this in paper form because it will need to be uploaded. Remember, your I-94 also shows you when you last entered the United States. It'll have the date. It'll have the port of entry, and this is going to be the airport. This is where you first landed in the United States. Not here at BNA in Nashville. When you landed in the United States, where's the first place you landed? And then you want to make sure you have your visa class. Most likely it's going to be F. The passport number, travel documents, most of you will not have a travel document, especially if you already have a passport. So most of students, that's blank. The expiration date on your passport, the country, and your immigration status. The CVIS number, remember the CVIS number is on the upper left-hand corner of your I-20. It starts with an N. Make sure you copy it correctly because it should match your application, the I-20 that you're sending in and you're going to upload. The A number, if you have a previous EAD card, then you will have an A number. That's the number that's on your registration, your EAD card. Most people, most of our students do not have unless they're from a graduate. If you did OPT as an undergrad, then you will have an EAD card. You will have an A number. If you're an undergrad, it's unlikely you will have one. If you have a question, let us know. And then your account number. Most of you, again, will not have an account number unless you have another application with USCIS. So again, most of us say no on that one. Social Security, this is again, if you've been working on campus and you have a Social Security card, you're going to say yes if you have one, no if you don't. If you have it, you put your number. If you say, I don't have one, number first part is no, then you want them to issue you a Social Security card at the same time they're approving your OPT. So make sure you get those answers correct, however, whichever is for your case. Other information, has the Social Security SSA ever officially issued you? Yes, if you have one, no, if you don't. Do you want them to give you one? Yes or no, and then you must say yes for consent. Okay, now the photos. If you're going to do the photo and you're going to do the online application, Walgreens, CVS, they will give you electronic. They'll put it on a little memory stick, a flash drive. If you think you're going to do the online application, keep it digital, because all you need to do then is upload those photos. Take them off the flash drive, put them on your computer, label the file, and put them up. It's much, much easier. If you have a physical photo that you want to try to change into a digital photo, there's this little thing here that says the photo composition tool. You can take that and you will upload your photo to that part, that little box, and it will try to adjust the photo. You may need to enlarge it or shrink it or try to play with it. But it is possible to get it done this way. It's taken some time when I've done it with a student. If you know you're going to do it online, make sure that you get your photos digital. It's much, much easier. Okay, again, your I-94, you all should know, probably you know better than I, how to choose a file on your computer. This is why it's important to have everything saved before you start the application, so you can find them on your computer and then upload them. If you have an EAD card, if you don't, you're going to use your passport. So this is an official document. And if you have previously had OPT or CPT I-20s, we're going to want to upload them here. So make sure you scan them and save them to your computer. And remember, this is previously authorized OPT or CPT. This is not your new one. Okay, now this is the one that you're going to get from us that's going to say, we requested full-time post-completion OPT. This is where you're going to upload it. This is the only one. It says here, your DSO must have entered the recommendation. So we do this in SEVIS, and then SEVIS will give us this I-20. If you submit without this I-20, you will be denied. So it's so important, and we've had a couple of people make this mistake, so we really do harp on this one. That's why it's all in caps. Now, additional information, they give you a chance to add other things. Sometimes a student will have two passports. Maybe their first passport expired, they're adding a second, they have a new passport, their visa's in the old passport. You want to put both of them in. So you want to put your old passport, your new passport. Some students will want to put their transcripts. Some students will put other I-20s. There's a bunch of different things that you can enter. Anything that you want to put here is to support your application. It's not required. if you have everything and you think you have all the documents you need, then you don't need to have anything here. This is an optional. You will have to tell them what documents you're going to upload. The last thing you're going to do is you're going to say that you understand the English, you understand the instructions, you have read through everything. You're going to sign it, and this is a signature electronically. And you want to sign the name as you have in your passport. Try to keep everything your full legal name. If you have a middle name, even if you don't like it, you have to put it here. And then you're going to pay and submit. The one nice thing about the online app, it will allow you to pay by credit card. It's going to give you the amount. The amount is never going to change, or they will change the application online. So $410, you can pay it online. When you're ready to do that, you're going to submit. How do you want to submit it? Credit card or debit card or bank account? And you can continue, will be your pay. You want to make sure, the one thing I found in America, if you have a credit card or a debit, make sure that your address is the one that's related to the card. If they ask you for an address, usually a billing address, one of your addresses will be related to the card. So when you registered with the bank, that's the address you need to upload. Okay, that's going through the online application. Now, this other information is pretty general. Okay, want to make sure you signed and approved the application. That's for the paper app. Watch your filing window. This is for both. 90 days before your program end date, 60 days after the program end date, 61 days you will be denied. 30 days after we have created that OPT I-20 for you. It's a 60, 30, 90. If you change your address, if you move and you weren't planning to, you can use the USCIS website and give them a change of address. If you're sending in your mailing, your paper app, make sure you have everything. It's not easy to submit documents after you've already sent your application. And make sure you confirm with the website the amount to pay if you're sending the paper app. Usually they will notify, it'll be announced, it'll be in red on their website. So one of the reasons we don't put it in our documents, we give you the link, is because it can change without us knowing it. And I don't like you to be caught. So always check the website before you make your check. And make sure they make it out to the right amount. Okay, what our office can do, we can review the application for you. We will go through it. We will make corrections. We will tell you what we like and don't like and what we think needs to be fixed. We can help you and guide you with the OPT I-20 and the dates. Okay, we can give you the I-20. We need you to have the dates. And anytime you have questions, we're happy to answer questions. This is what we can do. What we cannot do is mail your application. We will not do that. We will not assume responsibility for the application. And we will not receive your EAD card. So you may not use the MTSU International Affairs Office to have your card sent or any information. Communication with USCIS has to be between you and USCIS. If we're closed for the holidays and you have the request for evidence and the holidays have been for a week, 2 weeks, we can't get here. You won't get the information until we open up, and by then it may be too late. So we do not receive any information from USCIS on behalf of the students. So that's what we cannot do. Now, we don't know what you don't know. If you have a question, please, please, please ask us the questions. Don't ask your friends. Their case is different. Always ask us. Refer to USCIS homepage for more information. Everything you need to know is there. It's a lot of information, yes, but if you want to know for sure, go to their website. Confirm your address. And if you have the paper app, confirm you're a pay. Always check the USCIS homepage one more time before you mail your application, just to make sure you've included everything and you have everything correct. And we are careful for a reason. I have been known to send students back 3 and 4 times if their paper app is not perfect. This is just to save you time on the other end. If we get it done in one sitting and we can get it to USCIS and they're not asking us for further evidence or information, it makes the process much faster. Every time they have to come back to you for more information, your application stops. And it won't start again until everything they need, they have. And that can delay it for months. So we're careful, picky, yes, strict on the front end. So it's better for you on the back end. Now, this little diagram is giving you an example timeline. So the first day to file, say if my program end date is December 8th, okay, 2022, that's not bad. Then the first day that I'm able to apply for OPT is going to be September 10th, 90 days before. Okay, some people know, most people around October. Let's say the I-20 was issued. Nathan took the dates off. From the date that I issued this I-20, you have 30 days to get it to USCIS. Okay. The grace period, remember, 60 days after your grace period, after your program end date, you have a grace period. So if I'm graduating on December 8th, then December 6th or thereabouts, 2023 is the last day I can apply for OPT. If it's 61 days, they won't deny. The same here. If it's 91 days, they will deny. Okay, it has to be. That's why we don't generally talk too much about OPT until we're after that 90-day window. But these are the dates, 90, 30, 60. Those are the dates we want to keep in mind. Now, some final notes, and then we're going to talk a little bit about STEM OPT. Even after you and everything being perfect, it's possible you will have your EAD card and you're not ready to work. That's great. That's perfect. You cannot start until the EAD is in your possession, and the start date, it will have the start date printed on the EAD card. You cannot start before that date. Doesn't matter. If the employer wants you to start, you cannot. If you do, you can be terminated. Keep your DSL up to date. One thing with OPT, you are able to change employers with OPT. If you find a better job, then absolutely take the new position, but let us know because we need to change CVIS to reflect your new position. The reason for all of this is CVIS knows, and once in a while, they will make a site visit to your place of work. If they go and you're not there, it's not a good thing. It's not good for you as a student. It's not good for us as the school. If you change employers, let us know. We'll update CVIS with all your information, and then everybody knows what's happening. If through your OPT you decide to go back to grad school or you want to transfer to another school, the minute your I-20 leaves either MTSU or your current education level, your OPT stops. The day your CVIS record changes, your OPT stops. So if you are on OPT, let's say you get OPT, you're going to start in, say, January 10th, you start OPT. And along about June, you decide that you want to go to grad school and you're accepted to grad school. When you transfer your CVIS record to your new grad school, your OPT stops. You may not do OPT if you've already transferred to a new school. So the OPT and the job is tied to your I-20. The I-20 is tied to the school. If you change your I-20 to a new school, your OPT stops. Your application is your responsibility, whether you do it online or you do it paper app, whether you're uploading documents or putting them in a package and sending it off to USCIS, it's your responsibility for that application. If you have questions, you need to ask us. If you must contact USCIS directly for mail file to an application, you must. We can't. If you say, can you call USCIS, they won't listen to us. They won't talk to us. They will only talk to the student, and that is for your protection. Okay? We cannot talk on your behalf. Yes. Did I do this? No. Keep your DSO. No, I did this one. I know. This was my little thingy. Yeah, okay, we're done with this. We're going to go through them. See them flashing? I forgot I did the flashing. Okay, final notes. If you denied, it happens. If you file early enough, you have time to get a new application, a new I-20 from the DSO, and reapply for OPT. If we can figure out what the mistake was, we can try to fix it. This is dependent upon you applying for OPT early enough that your grace period is not finished and you haven't gone out of that window. If for some reason we get an I-20 to you for OPT and something happens that you don't get either online or you don't get your application mailed, come back to us and get a new I-20. We can cancel that OPT request a new one, and give you a new OPT I-20. You know, life happens. You would get sick, the family member gets sick, I forgot. If you find yourself that it's past the 30 days, let us know. We can fix that. If you want to appeal an OPT denial, you can. It's done out of our office. We recommend you contact an attorney if you want to do that. It's rare. I have never seen a denial overturned. And again, at the end of your post-completion OPT period, the same as when you were graduating, you have a 60-day grace period when your OPT period finishes. In that 60-day grace period, you need to make a decision. If you're going to transfer to a new school, you're going to go to a different level, go to grad school, you're going to apply for a new visa status, or you leave the United States. It's the same as when you graduate. You have that same 60-day grace period. The same decision needs to be made before the grace period ends. Now, STEM extension. STEM extension, as you know, is mostly for students who have a science, technology, engineering, math, may be eligible. We don't say you are, because this is dependent on the zip code on your I-20. Now, the zip code is that number that's with your major. That major, that zip code, certain zip codes are allowed to do the STEM major. Study in the States has a document that lets you look up by yourself if your zip code allows you to do the STEM extension for 2 years. Some do, some don't. The other thing to remember is maybe in the state of Ohio, you could qualify for STEM. In the state of Tennessee, you do not, because each state has a set of zip codes that they're allowed to use. We're not allowed to use other zip codes. The state of Tennessee has limited what numbers and zip codes we can use. If it looks like your zip code is not on the STEM list, you can't do the STEM extension. So we have a limit of what we can do. So if every I-20 we issue, we check to make sure that zip code aligns with the state of Tennessee. If it doesn't, we can only use the one. So if you're an aerospace major and pro pilot, we don't use pro pilot. We use aerospace. We use the major, not the concentration. So sometimes the major, what you're actually studying at MTSU and what's listed on your I-20 doesn't seem to match. That's okay. It's the number that needs to be within what we're allowed to use for the state of Tennessee. It's a 24-month post-completion OPT, so it's for 2 years. A new application is required, new I-765, and there's also another document that comes with it. And again, they may receive your application 90 days before the end of your post-completion OPT, but they must receive it before the OPT ends. There is no grace period. You may not apply for STEM during your grace period. You have to have the application to USCIS before your OPT ends. This is the one big difference between STEM and regular OPT. STEM is different in that the process itself is more complicated. It requires the form be used. The I-983 is what we call a training program, and your employer has to agree to train you because this is a learning experience. It's not just for you to make money. So there's a 1 year and a second year training program, objectives, how it will change, what will you do the first year, what will you do the second year. The employer must be an E-Verify employer. If it looks like your employer is not E-Verify, you cannot do STEM OPT. It's cut and dry. There's no negotiation. There's no question. One of the first questions you're going to want to ask is, are you E-Verify? If they say no, you need to find somewhere else. Before you turn in your I-983 and ask your employer to talk about your training program, the first question is going to be, are you an E-Verify employer? They will know if they are. The government has issued them a number. You must have that number in order to have STEM OPT or your application. We won't send it in if you don't have the E-Verify number. Additional requirements, the student is required to report to CVIS and the DSO every 6 months. All right, sometimes in the first session is you're just letting us know that you're still working. After 1 year, it involves you going back to this training program, evaluating your work with your employer, your supervisor. They sign it, you send it to us, we upload to CVIS. If you don't send it to us, you will probably get a notification, but we certainly will get a notification about you haven't reported for your first year of STEM OPT. When you finish your OPT period, you must again do the evaluation with your employer and your supervisor. What was good, what was bad, what did you learn? Again, that must be reported and sent to us. You cannot upload it to CVIS, only the DSO can upload it to CVIS. So if you don't do this, we will reach out to you and remind you. This is important. This is one of the agreements that you make when you sign your I-983, that you agree to do this, and your employer agrees to train you. This is one of the benchmark part of OPT, STEM OPT. Plan ahead. UISCS must receive your application before the current period ends, OPT period. The number of students that we've had come 2 days before OPT ends, all hurried, they have to get it. They have no option but to do an online app, and they have to do it before midnight when their OPT ends. Don't get in that situation. Decide early what you're going to do. If you want to do STEM, start talking to us. And again, you may not apply during the grace period. Regular OPT post-completion, yes. STEM, no. They will not accept your application. Okay, that is it. I'm going to stop sharing. Does anybody need to see any slides before we do this? I don't think we have that many questions. All right, so I'm just going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring this over here. Can you see me now? Oh, Megan is still here. No, she's not really. Okay, I have a question. If beginning to work on the 90th day of unemployment due to my start date, will I still be able to work on OPT for the full 12 months? You have until whatever dates are on your employment card is when you can work. If your OPT, your EAD card, the end date there, the unemployment is kind of built into the system. If you're not working for the first 90 days or the first even 3 or 4 or 5 months, then you just have what's left on your EAD card. So no, you're not going to get the full 12 months because you've already used part of that period. Remember, the EAD card, the time doesn't count. Unemployment doesn't count until that start date comes. But unemployment ends on that date. No questions asked. Okay, so yes, in effect, you've lost 3 months because those are the only dates. The EAD start date, the EAD end date, those are the dates you're allowed to work only. I came in late. Did we get to anything later than? Again, the webinar is going to be on the website. With this being recorded, yes, it is recording. I'm going to ask ITD to put it on the website. I don't exactly know where. Probably it'll be with all our other webinars under becoming a student. When we have our orientation and the webinar series we did when the new students were coming in. So we will put it out there. It might also be later, we're going to create an employment page on our website. I want to also put it on the employment page. So it will be out there. If for some reason you can't find it or you don't know where it is, let us know and we'll direct you to the website where to find this OPT, especially if you're going to do the online application. Have your computer up, have this in the background so you can follow through the steps. This is particularly helpful. I got an internship offer for summer. However, I'm a junior, just to be sure. Well, I have to come into the office and apply. If you're doing an internship, I would talk with your advisor. It sounds like CPT is better for an internship. It's rare. We had one student who had done several periods of CPT and her advisor would not approve another period of CPT. And so she used pre-completion OPT. If it's an internship and it's required and your advisor will sign off and agree to it, I would use CPT and save your OPT for the end. How long does it take to get our new I-20 from international office after we submitted the documents? If we have everything we need, it is very quick. It can be a day or two, depending on how busy we are. We never try to go longer than a week. That's why we ask you to plan ahead. Remember, we have a lot of things going on in this office. We're doing all the immigration, we're doing all the activities. We have a lot. So give us the time. Don't put us in a situation to where you have one day, or like I said before, tomorrow your OPT ends and I need the I-20 today. That's stressful for you and stressful for us. If we happen to not be in the office, then you can't get your OPT I-20. So shoot for a week. It doesn't usually take that long, but give us a week. And yes, this whole PowerPoint presentation and my mutterings will also be on the website. So give us a couple of days to get it out there, but it will be there for you to look at and watch and rewatch as you go through the OPT or CPT period. But most of all, if you have questions, just let us know. We're very, very happy to answer questions. We just need to know that you have a question. And again, nothing against your friends, but please come to us and get your answers because everybody's situation is different. And if your friend misunderstands your particular situation and gives you advice and it turns out to be incorrect, some mistakes are really, really hard to fix. And so we prefer you come to us and get your information. And we're here. We're always happy. Nathan or I are happy to answer any question you have. Okay. Any other questions? I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. I'm not seeing any more questions. We all good? Okay, we're really at the top of the hour. We're at 6 o'clock, so I didn't want it to go over an hour. I'm counting on you if you have questions to come and see us or to rewatch the website, the webinar, when you have time and you can get everything. If you have questions, please, please, please let us know. Don't wait. too long. We're here. We're happy to answer questions anytime. And it's better to know early. I have students talking to me about OPT for 2023 fall. That's great. Perfect. Then you're all set and we can start right away. And you're in that wonderful area to where you've come, you're graduating, you've got your EED card, you're ready to go. You're ready to work. All right. At that, I'm going to leave it. If you have, oh no, I got questions. Oh, I didn't scroll down. I'm a grad student applying for OPT. Can I have 2-year OPT considering I didn't apply for OPT when I was undergrad? No. You have one OPT, 1 year of OPT per level. If you choose not to take it at the undergrad level, then you lose it. You don't get 2 years at the grad level because you didn't use it at the undergrad level. All right. If I have STEM OPT, do I apply for the regular first and then apply for the STEM? Yes, the STEM OPT only comes after. Remember, it's called STEM extension. And so you have to have post-completion OPT first, and then you're extending that if you're in a STEM field. So it's an extension, not an additional or a separate OPT. When does the 90 days of unemployment start counting? Is it immediately after graduation? If I apply for OPT during the grace period, does it affect my unemployment days? Your unemployment days start on the day you give us to put into SEVIS as when you like to start working. So if you graduate in December, and you say, I'd like to take a little bit of a break. I don't want to start working until maybe mid-January. Come mid-January, you still don't have a job, and your EAD card says you chose January 15th as your start date, and you don't have a job. You're starting to collect unemployment days. So the unemployment clock starts on that EAD start date. That's when you start collecting unemployment, because before that, you're just waiting for that day arrive. You're not technically able to work, and so you cannot collect unemployment. It starts on the day you put as your first day of employment, and that's why it's important for you to choose those dates, not us. We take your advice on what day. So consider carefully, do I want to work immediately after graduation? Do I want a break? One of the things I will say is we do not recommend that you travel while your OPT is being adjudicated. All right. This is something some people do, some people don't. If you do, you need to make sure that you have a reliable person here sending you everything that you need. You will not get back into the country until you have a position, an offer letter, and a OPT approved I-20 with the employer information. They simply won't let you back across the border. So I recommend apply early while you're still studying. Then if you want to travel, and you're approved for OPT, you get a job, you have the card, you can come back into the country. But it's very risky to travel while your OPT is being adjudicated. I don't recommend it. Students have done it, but it's more complicated getting back into the country if you do that. The time now it takes to approve OPT, it comes and goes. On the very quiet times, you can get it in short of a month. If it's a very high volume period, about now, where a lot of students are applying for OPT from all over the United States, I'm thinking it's going to take probably 2 to 3 months. Again, COVID, it was taking 6 to 9 months. We don't know. We can give a guess, but we don't know how long it takes. It depends on the lockbox. It depends on their caseload. All right, another one came in. For example, I decide to start on January 2nd, but the OPT approved is not with me at that time. You're correct, you will not be able to start. So that's why that dates, you need to make sure, do I want to start right away, but I need to adjudicate it? Am I applying early? Am I applying late? If I'm applying late, you're probably not going to get the full year, no matter how, because you have adjudication time in there. And if you're applying at the end of your grace period, you're not going to get the full 60 days because you're not going to get adjudicated in a day. That's why it's important to think now if you want to do OPT. Not to say we have students doing it all the time. But yeah, you cannot work until you get that card and the date on the card has arrived. If you do, and I find out, it's grounds for termination. All right, I hope this was helpful. We'll do this every semester. We will do it again in the spring. We do not do it for the summer, but it will stay on our website until we replace it with an updated version. And again, questions always. Pop in, come in and see us, make an appointment. One of us, usually Nathan or I, are here at all times. So we try to make sure. All right. Oh, is there some general reasons why my OPT is denied? Most commonly for the OPT to be denied is because the filing dates. You're either applying too early, too late, or you did not send the I-20, the OPT requested I-20. This is probably the one that happens the most, especially with the online application. The students forget that the OPT they have in their hand is not the OPT I-20 they want. They want the OPT requested I-20 with the dates. A couple of our students have sent those in, and I believe they've received denials because of that. Is it possible to receive the EAD after my application start date? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, you mean after the date that you put on your requested start date? Absolutely. If you request a date that doesn't give USCIS enough time to adjudicate your case, yes, they will choose probably the date that you gave them. Your card might arrive 2 or 3 weeks later. So yes, you're losing time on those days. We always recommend you start early, as early as you can. If you think you want to do OPT in December, and if you're graduating in December, then I would start now talking to us about getting an application in. A PDF form, I mean, I can try. I can print it out, yeah, Rucha, I can do that. But you're going to lose all of the words, but then maybe you don't want the words. No, you have my email, Juta. If you have my email, send me an email to remind myself to send you a PDF form of the OPT, and I will print it off and send it to you. Okay, same with anybody. If you want the PDF of this, let me know. That's an easy fix. I can send the PDF form out there. So I'm going to close this out. Any further questions, please email me or email Nathan. Either one of us is happy to answer. So stop and see us. We like to see you, So come and see us and ask a question. All right. Thank you for joining. I hope this was helpful. Questions, let me know. But I'm going to sign off. Go have dinner. Make sure that you are coming to International Education Week. It's a shameless plug. We will be sending out further information. Read your emails and watch our Instagram. A lot of information on Instagram. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of the semester. Come in and see us before you go home. Make sure you get your I-20 signed. Thank you so much, everybody.